For the first time, we're hearing detailed accounts from neighbors who were awake in the quiet hours before 4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan disappeared from their home in Pictou County.
On October 18th, CBC released a report revealing a chilling detail. Two neighbors, Brad Wong and Justin Smith, heard a vehicle driving back and forth multiple times during the night, around 1:30 a.m. This was the very window when Jack and Lilly Sullivan were believed to still be inside their home. What makes this even more suspicious is that both neighbors identified the vehicle as belonging to Daniel Martel. Yet Daniel insists he never left the house that night. Meanwhile, Malehya, the children's mother, said she went to bed at 9 p.m. She had no idea what Daniel did after she fell asleep. And then comes a detail that sends chills down your spine. Janie was reportedly seen digging or raking the ground in the very area, later suspected to contain children's footprints. A car moving in the dark, unexplained footprints, freshly disturbed soil. All of it forming a troubling gap in time that raises more questions than answers. That night, was it truly just a disappearance? Or is there a deeper mystery hiding beneath the surface? In this video, we'll examine every detail and use Google Maps 3D to explore the entire area around the Martel property, searching for clues that may have been overlooked. If you enjoy in-depth investigative analysis, don't forget to subscribe to True Child Cases and share your theories in the comments. And now, let's begin the investigation. Now, let's explore the Daniel Martel house area together. This is a Google photo taken in August, which is 3 months after Lilly and Jack went missing. You can see that this area is purely hilly and forested, with a fairly sparse population density, essentially a rural area in Canada. The children's house is not far from this intersection, very close to the red marker. This is the children's house, viewed from above. You can turn on 3D mode for the best viewing experience. This photo was taken in August, so you can see the yellow sign with the two children's pictures on it, which has been put up by the roadside. In this video, we'll also explore the surrounding area and the neighbors. And right in front of it is a large road. As you can see, if the children wanted to go into the forest, it wouldn't be difficult, as the house is surrounded by dense trees. The markers, tied to indicate the location, are still on the branches from the day the search began. The house was surrounded by dense forest, but from what I saw, it would be very difficult for the two children to go into this forest. Even an adult couldn't go deep inside in such a short time. There are many interconnected roads around this area, but none of the houses are located behind the main road. Most are right on the street. If you search, you might find a pinned location where Lily's pink blanket was found, as previously reported. It's relatively far from her house, and I have a question. Why was it in this location? Did the garbage truck drop it, or was it a staged scene? I have a theory, though it might be wrong, that someone stole the blanket that night and brought it there to stage a fake crime scene, perhaps Daniel Martel or someone else. The neighbors hearing car noises throughout the night could also be related to this. I found it very difficult to thoroughly search such a large area, and you can see that it's hard to leave footprints on this gravel path. Even now, if someone says they're still alive, I find it quite hard to believe. This area seems to have relatively little traffic and low population density. Neighbors say they hear cars passing by Daniel's house all night, which I find a bit strange. And this hasn't been verified by the RCMP either. The terrain is mostly mountainous and forested. I discovered a few streams and a large lake, but they are quite far from home. My friends and I will explore this area together. Nova Scotia is a province shaped by the ocean. Jutting out into the Atlantic on Canada's eastern edge, the region is defined by rugged coastlines, dense forests, winding rural roads, and isolated communities where nature often feels closer than civilization. The geography here plays a powerful role in everyday life and in any investigation that unfolds within its boundaries. The province is a long, narrow peninsula surrounded by water on almost every side. Its shoreline stretches for more than 13,000 kilometers, forming countless bays, coves, and inlets. Fog from the Atlantic can roll in without warning, swallowing visibility and changing the landscape's mood in seconds. These coastal elements shape not only the climate, but also how sound travels at night. Engines, voices, and footsteps can echo farther than expected across open fields or forest corridors. Inland, Nova Scotia is covered by vast mixed woodlands, rocky ridges, and uneven terrain carved by ancient glaciers. Much of the province consists of gently rolling hills broken by lakes, marshes, and streams. Many rural communities sit along narrow roads that twist between tree lines, making them feel secluded even when they are only minutes from a highway. At night, these areas become pitch black, with only scattered house lights breaking the darkness. A single vehicle driving through such terrain can be heard from surprising distances, especially in quiet hours after midnight. Small towns and rural properties are often separated by large plots of private land. Dirt driveways, old logging paths, and unmarked trails branch off into the woods, leading to sheds, abandoned structures, or clearings difficult to see from the main road. The ground is often soft, especially in spring, easily recording footprints or tire marks, but just as easily disturbed by wind, rain, or human activity. This natural environment makes both searching for missing people and preserving potential evidence particularly challenging. Railway lines, once central to Nova Scotia's economy, still cut through many communities. These tracks usually run near isolated roads or forest edges, creating places where vehicles can turn around or stop unnoticed. The combination of open space, limited lighting, and few witnesses makes such locations significant in any timeline reconstruction. Nova Scotia's climate adds another level of complexity. Cool air from the ocean mixes with warmer inland conditions, creating unpredictable weather patterns. Nights can be cold and damp, even in late spring. Mist can settle low to the ground, obscuring details and making it difficult to see footprints or disturbances in soil unless examined closely. When daylight returns, scenery can look deceptively calm, masking what might have occurred only hours before. Despite its natural beauty, Nova Scotia's terrain carries an element of isolation that can deeply influence investigations. Distances that appear short on a map may take longer to travel due to winding roads or forest barriers. Sound may travel far, but light travels poorly, disappearing quickly between dense trees. In a place shaped by water, woods, and long stretches of quiet land, the environment itself becomes a character, one that can hide secrets, reveal hints, or distort timelines. The poster displayed pictures of the two missing children along the long road, with the hope that they would soon return home. I'll explore this route with you. If the two children left home, they most likely turned onto this road. If you continue, you'll see a small stream flowing below. With this rocky path, it's very difficult to leave footprints. Surrounded by dense trees, some were felled by a storm. The houses are far apart. We have to walk a long way before we come across a cluster of houses. It's quite difficult to find a security camera in this area or near the houses. This is also a limitation that prolongs the search due to the lack of information. I also went quite far inside. You can see the images directly. And so far, I'm 90% convinced that the two children were taken away by someone, or worse, they're gone. No trace left, no mystery. The perpetrator must have planned this carefully beforehand. And coincidentally, it happened on the day the two children were off school. So, who do you think it could be? Do you think it's unusual to dig up the ground right where Janie's footprints appeared? And I think this wasn't done by just one person. So where was Janie that night? And what was she doing? Where was Daniel? And what was he doing? According to Malehya, he stayed up late. The question of whether two missing children could still be alive is one that investigators must approach with both caution and scientific grounding. Survival analysis in missing child cases is complex and influenced by numerous variables: age, environment, weather conditions, access to shelter, and the circumstances under which the disappearance occurred. When those circumstances remain unclear or contain contradictions, as in the Sullivan case, the range of possible outcomes becomes wider, and the investigation inevitably extends over a longer period. In general, young children have limited ability to navigate terrain, protect themselves from the elements, or seek purposeful help. However, documented cases show that children can sometimes survive longer than expected when certain conditions align: moderate temperatures, access to water, and proximity to natural shelter. Nova Scotia's spring climate adds uncertainty. Nights can be cold, but not uniformly lethal, and the mixed forests, outbuildings, and rural structures scattered across properties may provide places where a child could feasibly take cover. The difficulty lies in determining whether the children ever wandered off on their own, or whether another set of circumstances removed them from the immediate environment. The timeline inconsistencies further complicate survival projections. When investigators cannot confirm what time the children were last definitively seen, the search area expands drastically. A discrepancy of even 2 hours can shift the theoretical radius of travel by several kilometers. In this case, unclear nighttime activity, unanswered questions about vehicle movement, and unverified statements from individuals close to the scene prevent the establishment of a precise starting point. Without that anchor, survival estimation becomes less about likelihood and more about maintaining all possibilities until evidence rules them out. Another factor influencing the duration of an investigation is the absence of physical findings. When no clothing, objects, tracks, or confirmed footprints are recovered, or when potential traces are later disputed, the case remains suspended between competing hypotheses. Search teams cannot conclusively narrow the scope, and law enforcement cannot transition the case from missing person status to another investigative classification. This evidentiary vacuum keeps the case open, sometimes for months or even years, because no outcome can be responsibly excluded. Historical analysis of Canadian missing child cases shows that long investigative timelines do not necessarily imply that the children are deceased. In several instances, families waited months for breakthroughs, either through new witnesses, overlooked terrain, or the discovery of independent traces far from the original search area. The key point is that time in itself is not definitive. What matters is whether the investigation continues to yield information, however slowly. When questions about nighttime activity, potential disturbances on the property, or conflicting personal accounts remain unresolved, investigators cannot ethically close the case. Survival probability is therefore not a simple calculation. It is a spectrum of possibilities influenced by environment, human behavior, and the evolving evidence landscape. As long as no conclusive evidence of harm has been found, the case remains in a state where both survival and non-survival outcomes must be considered. The lack of clarity does not eliminate hope, but it does demand rigorous ongoing analysis. Ultimately, the reason cases like this can extend far beyond initial expectations is because the intersection of silence, uncertainty, and missing evidence forms a complex investigative terrain. Until those gaps are filled, until the timeline is firmly reconstructed, until every lead is exhausted, the possibility of survival, however narrow, continues to guide the search. And that unresolved space is precisely why the investigation must continue. As we conclude this investigation, one thing becomes clear. Every detail, no matter how small, matters. In cases involving missing children, time, evidence, and truth intertwine in ways that are rarely straightforward. The unanswered questions in this case remind us how important it is to look closely, think critically, and keep searching for clarity. Raising awareness is often what brings new leads to the surface. Someone somewhere may hold a piece of information that has been overlooked. By keeping this case alive in the public eye, we help ensure that no potential clue fades into silence. Your engagement directly contributes to maintaining momentum in the search for answers. If you believe in uncovering the truth behind complex child disappearance cases, it truly makes a difference when you support our work. Please subscribe to True Child Cases, share this video, and let us know your theories in the comments. Every interaction helps push these stories into broader visibility, where new insights can emerge. Thank you for watching and for standing with us in the pursuit of truth and justice. We'll continue investigating this case and others like it, using mapping tools, evidence analysis, and community discussion to shed light on what remains hidden. Stay with us for the next episode as we uncover new developments and explore the unanswered questions that lie ahead.